Today I'm going to teach you how to make my all-time favorite automatic chicken feeder. Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. This is Kevin. Well, I've been getting a lot of requests lately as I've done videos around our homestead to give more information about the chicken feeder that we use. I've actually been using this style of chicken feeder now for about 5 or 6 years, and I can tell you it is by far my favorite way to feed our chickens. There's very little mess. The wild animals, for the most part, don't get into it, but we will touch on that a little bit later. It holds a lot of feed. I make them out of a 35-gallon garbage can, and that holds, I think I can fit 150 pounds, so 3 bags of feed in there. I usually only put 100 at a time, but I think it would hold a third one. But the biggest thing is that there's very little mess, and that it stays dry even in the rain, which is a big deal here in Missouri. We get quite a bit of rain, and I don't have to worry about chicken feed getting wet and then going bad and wasting a lot of money. It's a very easy type of feeder to make. Uses very common things to make it, and if you have just a little bit of skill as far as being able to use some tools, you'll be able to make it no problem. Now, unfortunately, I already have 2 of these, so I have no need to make another one, and I just can't justify going out and spending all the money to make another one just for the video. So instead, I have this one, which is empty, and I'm going to go over all the parts with you and show you how to make it, but it's already put together. So you'll know how to make one by the end of this video, and it's very easy to do. So let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to need, obviously, is a garbage can. You can really use whatever size you want. I've even seen people make these out of 5-gallon buckets if you just, want to hold, a little bit of feed at a time. A 5-gallon bucket will hold about 25 pounds of feed. Again, I like this because you can fill it up and it'll last your chickens, a good few weeks before you need to fill it again. It's also great, if you need to go out of town and, having someone come over to check on your place while you're gone. They don't really need to worry about feeding your chickens. You can just fill this up before you go, and this will last them, quite a long time. So you need the garbage can. Whatever you buy, just make sure it has a good, tight-fitting lid. And then you're also going to need some 90-degree PVC elbows. Now there's a couple different kinds that you can get. This one I actually made, these are called street elbows. And the reason that I like those is because they have one bigger end on them that you can cut off and then put on the outside so that it can't push in. If you get a regular PVC elbow, which will work also, but the end isn't as big, and so you just need to be a little more careful. This gives you a little more leeway to not be quite as accurate and still turn out with a good feeder. But either one will work just fine, and to be honest, I've made them out of both. I usually look whatever is on sale or I can get a good deal on at the time, and that's what I make them out of, because the chickens aren't going to care. The feeder's going to work the same either way. So don't waste money. Just buy what you can get for a good deal at the time. Now, as far as how to place these inside of the can, you need to have the inside a little bit up off the bottom of the can, but you don't want it too far off the bottom, because you want the chickens to be able to get all the food all the way down into the bottom of the garbage can. You want them to be able to eat everything that's in there. So let me show you inside the can, and then I'll show you how I measure to figure out the height off the bottom. Now, another thing that I should mention before we look inside is that I like to build these with four of these around it, but you don't have to put 4. You could put just 1, or you could put, I'd say 4 is probably the max, because you don't want to hurt the stability of the can. But I mean, you could put 2, you could put 3. Just, you don't have to put 4, I guess is my point. Just do whatever you want. If you only have a couple chickens, they don't all need to eat at exactly the same time. So, all right, let's look inside. All right, so here is the inside of the can. And you'll see all 4 of those elbows are in there. Now, what I do to figure out where to place them is when I buy the new can, I will take a piece of either 2x4 or 2x6, and I'll put it down on the bottom. And then I will set the 90-degree elbow on that, and that will tell me how high up to draw my circle here. Then what you can do, and you could do this from the outside as well, then you'll know where to cut your hole. You can either cut it with a hole saw if you have one big enough, or you could drill a small hole to start and then cut it out with a heavy-duty scissors or something like that. As long as you can cut a pretty accurate round hole, that's all that really matters. The key here is that you want about 1.5 inches of space at the bottom of your garbage can. Now, if you buy a standard 90-degree elbow, it's going to have a flared end on both sides. So you're going to need to cut one of those flared ends off of each elbow so that you can get it through the can. Otherwise, it won't be able to push through from the outside. All right, so that's really all there is to building one. Once you push those in, if you have your holes cut really nice and tight, it should be pretty leak proof all on its own. If you want to, you could use some silicone, some caulk around here and just let it dry real good before you start feeding your chickens. Personally, I never do that. I don't like the idea that the chickens could peck at that and get that off. I just cut the holes a little on the small side and really force that elbow through, and that I've never had one leak. So and again, we get a lot of rain here. We didn't get much in Arizona, but here in Missouri we get a lot, and I've never had any of the feed get wet inside of the can. So let's go over to our chicken pen, and I'll show you the one that I have over there, and give you some tips for how I use it and how I keep it working the way it should. All right, so here's the one that I have in our chicken yard right now. And you can see, if you look inside this hole, and I hope you can see in there okay, that you can see where the feed is in there. So the chickens will just put their heads in that hole, and that's where they'll eat from. And again, you can fill the can all the way up because of the curve of the elbow. It's not going to allow for the feed to come out. Now, what I like to do is I like to raise it up off the ground a little bit. So I put it either on a pallet or a cement block or something like that, and it helps the chickens be able to eat out of it just a little bit better. What you don't want to do is just raise the elbow up in the can. You want the elbow only 1.5 inches off the bottom of the can. If you raise it up to make it so they can eat better, they'll never be able to get the stuff that's down at the bottom of the can. So you can lift up the whole can, but don't just raise the elbow. Now, for the most part, I don't have any problems with wild animals being able to eat out of this. And there is one exception to that. Now, very rarely will I see like a sparrow or something like that, which really I'm not concerned about because they don't really consume enough of my feed to make it worth my time to worry about them. But just recently, within the last few weeks, I've noticed that the wild crows have figured out how to eat out of here. And they can eat quite a bit of food in one night or one morning, so I've had to take some measures to stop them from being able to do that. Now, the way that I've done that is extremely high tech. What you need to do, go to the store, buy yourself a few cans of soup, and save the cans. And then all I do is every night, when I lock the chickens up for the night, is I put one of these cans in each of the holes. And that way, in the morning before the chickens are out, the crows can't eat out of here. And then in the morning when I let the chickens out, I just take the can back out and I throw them in here for the day. And that way the chickens can eat, but it keeps the crows out. Because I don't want to spend my money to feed crows. This will also help if you have a problem with rats and things like that, which, you know, we probably do. I don't know, but we probably do because we're out in the country and we have mice and rats everywhere. So this will also prevent other things from being able to eat out of it during the night. So again, super high tech. Got to get yourself some of these high tech soup cans, and that'll solve your problem. So there you have it. This is the feeder that we use. Again, we've been using this for, I think, 5 years or maybe even a little more. They work great. They keep your food dry. They allow you to, you know, buy in bulk and stock up and then not have to worry about feeding your chickens all the time. So, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments below. If this is your first time checking out our channel, this would be a great time to hit subscribe so you can get an update every time we put out a video. We put out 5 new ones every week. If you're one of our traditionalists who comes back every day, thank you so much. We really appreciate your support. And until next time, you guys, thanks for stopping by the homestead. Take care, and God bless.